XRP, HBAR, and also Algorand. What do these three have in common? Well, all three of them are tied together in very significant ways. And in this video, I am going to be outlining this. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. As we really kind of take a look at this space from a zoomed out view. So if we take a quick step back and really kind of look at where we are right now in this market, got to remember that Bitcoin dominance is still significantly high. We also have to remember that Bitcoin hasn't been doing much at all since March. Most of the market has been down since March, and yet everyone is still so negative. They're saying that these altcoins are doing nothing. All they do is go down in price. It's so funny to me that this is the sentiment now. In just a few weeks from now, everyone's going to say, wow, I should have bought here. I should have bought there. And I guarantee you guys that I'm going to have comments on my video that are going to be asking me, is now a good time to be buying these altcoins? I see it every single time. Everyone is so caught up in complaining, they don't look at buying at all. This is why I always say, when these altcoins are pumping, remember that feeling. Remember the feeling that you had when these altcoins were pumping. Remember the feeling leading into that major move as well that you had, because you could learn a lot through that. When we think about XRP, HBAR, and even Algo, these are three legitimate projects in the space that have real world utility tied to them. These are three projects that continue to expand. They're three projects that continue to push update after update after update, partnerships, building. I mean, the growth around these three in just the last year or so has been tremendous, and I love to see that. Now, building upon this, I want to take you guys back to January of this year, where Max Walker-Williams actually put together Brad Garlinghouse and Lehman Baird. So Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple, Lehman Baird from Hedera. They were plotting to work together. This is tagged with Algorand because they thought that Max Walker-Williams was from Algorand, but he isn't. But we have showcasing the power of collaboration in the crypto space. This video explores how these two can reshape the future and unlock mutual benefits. And ultimately, I think every single utility project in this space should be working to collaborate. And we've been witnessing that through a lot of the announcements. For example, like the DREC Alliance, which we will outline in this video quickly, but also a few other ones when we think about like the Digital Euro Association or even the Digital Pound Foundation. But check this out real quick.
Another place where tribalism is not helpful to us.
Right.
And so if we can work together, Algorand just mentioned that they're going to work on this, we're going to work on this,
and we're going to make sure we start to talk about whether we can collaborate as well, so it's good.
Oh wow, yeah, fantastic. Possibly. And we're going to talk about how we can collaborate with the things you were talking about for scam identification and dealing with it. I think that we can work together in a lot of ways as an industry.
So yeah, I mean, what they were talking about during this time was the DREC Alliance, which I've already mentioned it multiple times. The DREC Alliance is something that I think is incredible. There's a ton of great names tied to it. Algorand, Hedera, Ripple, Casper. I think Cardano's tied to it as well. A lot of great names, a lot of great legitimate projects as well. Collaboration is so crucial in this space. I've always said it multiple times that, in order to unlock mass adoption, in order for Web3 to become a reality, we do need collaboration. This whole idea that like, oh, XRP is better than this, or XLM is better than that. It's just ridiculous. And honestly, and I know that this might sound rude, but it's low IQ arguments. Nobody should be saying, oh, HBAR is better than this, or HBAR is better than that, or this is better. It's just a ridiculous argument at this current moment in time when the space is so small. It's minuscule. We think about some of these markets. Guys, crypto is a drop of water in a bucket when we look at some of these asset classes. So as we think about that, it's not how can, this project be better than that project in crypto. Think about how can these projects work together to become bigger than Amazon or Apple or Microsoft or this or that. That's where the real value is. And we're now starting to see the collaboration beginning around a lot of these legitimate projects. For example, there was a great article that got put out, and it was regarding an event. And this was with the GBBC. This is the Blockchain Central UNGA. This is with the United Nations. They are joining a major event around the GBB Council with Blockchain Central on September 23rd. This just recently passed. and this was regarding paperless supply chains. It was a roundtable with the HBAR Foundation. We also had Ripple there, Algorand as well, and a few other great names. And if we actually look at this event, so we have the 7th Annual Blockchain Central UNGA alongside the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly at the offices of the UN Joint Staff Pension Fund. It's kind of crazy when we think about all of these organizations that are still surrounding crypto, yet so many people are just overlooking this. They don't care about it. They're distracted by the Bitcoin talk by BlackRock, or they're talking about, this meme coin pumping or that meme coin pumping. And it's mainly because of the price of these altcoins. Nobody cares about the price of these altcoins at this current moment in time. They don't care about these altcoins because of the price. This is all they're focused on, is the price. So this is a major thing that turns everyone away from looking at legitimate projects. Now, if you are still looking at legitimate projects, don't feel bad, because when we think about these organizations that are tied to these names, it shows you the path forward. For an example, the GBBC has 500 institutional members tied to it. They also have a ton of initiatives that are actually propelling crypto forward so that Web3 can become a reality and massively adopt it. But if we actually look at the speakers here, this is where you can clearly see, how significant this event was. A ton of great regulatory bodies here, major regulatory members as well. Guys, the list here is very substantial. Massive banks. You had the Monetary Authority of Singapore. You had the Censure there. So many major names on the global scale. Yet so many people just avoid these events. They don't care. And when we think about the names tied to this, you had Ripple, Algorand, and Hedera. Right? These are three names that really kind of stand out to me. Outside of this, the agenda. Okay, when we think about the agenda behind this, again, this is very significant. You look at the welcoming, the opening meeting, all that kind of stuff. We have securing our digital future, ethics, AI, and data, paving the path to access blockchain in global finance. And again, look at the names here: the World Bank, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. You had Citi. Again, they are preparing to have crypto massively adopted. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure, real-life use cases of Web3. Down here, we have Fireside Chat, the future of equitable gender outcomes and women-centric solutions, building resilient economies through strong institutions. We also have the pursuit of justice and fighting financial crime. Fireside Chat, preparing for digital transformation, the role of regulation. Again, regulatory movements happening around crypto is so crucial right now. Traceability and trust, blockchain and food logistics, digital solutions for empowering communities, and the list just goes on here. I mean, a lot of these agendas are so big to stay focused on because, this is preparing us for a digital economy, a digital society, and it's already in progress. This has started, and 2020 was a major accelerant for all of this. And talking more so about that, we do have to address CBDCs. Decoding CBDC. Again, two names that were on here that stood out was Ripple and Hedera. Now, Algorand did get a brief mention. Here we have Ripple and all of the CBDC use cases. We also have Hedera around it as well. But Algorand also got mentioned. There's a few names that got mentioned. Here's the full breakdown. These are the CBDC technology solutions and infrastructure providers. Again, just kind of going off of the names here. MTech tied back to Hedera. Ripple, Bit tied back to Stellar. There's a few names on here tied back to Stellar, but on the right side you have Stellar, Hedera, Ripple, and Algorand. And just kind of building upon the names out there in the space that are legitimate projects. Nobody cares about them, but they are listed on here. And here we have the breakdown of Stellar, Ripple, Algorand, and Hedera. Corda and Hyperledger Fabric, they're private. We already know that. But when we think about this, it's definitely interesting. It's interesting to look at the names tied to all of these big documents and big events. Even Archax. Guys, Archax has been around for quite some time. We have, Archax and the HBAR Foundation. This goes back to 2023. Then Archax partners with Ripple as well, all around tokenization. And then we go back in time to 2020. Algorand and Archax partner for a new wave of sophisticated financial products. And guess what? This was around tokenization back in 2020. Back in 2020, nobody was even focused on tokenization. They did not care about tokenization. They only cared about DeFi, DeFi was like the big wave at that time. Beyond DeFi, a lot of people were looking into airdrops. NFTs weren't a big deal yet. So it was mainly DeFi and airdrops. I think gaming was still kind of a thing, but it wasn't as significant. It was more so around DeFi and just airdrops. But we also know how big Archax is. I mean, when we think about all of the names tied back to Archax, again, I look at this list and a few names really kind of jump out to me. Hedera, Algorand, Securitized, sure. Major ties back to some legitimate projects in the space as well. A lot of Hedera partners, a lot of Ripple partners too. So as we think about this, yeah, I mean, this is why I stay focused on these names and what these names are building. Like Archax, for an example, they're building a massive ecosystem to allow tokenization to become a reality in finance, to have Web3 tied back to finance. TradFi and DeFi is converging at a very, very significant time. It's also converging at a significant significant way. And on the left side, you can actually see that through the products. You have crypto, digital and traditional securities, NFTs, tokenized funds, crypto ETPs, e-money and stablecoins and derivatives. And then on the right side, you have the TradFi stuff. Investment banks, asset managers, hedge funds, market makers, liquidity providers, family offices, sophisticated investors, brokers, and retail. And at the center point, you have the full convergence of this, how it will work. You have tokenization at the top. You have primary market, digital and traditional, secondary markets, exchanges and OTC, custody, ESG. I mean, the list just goes on here. And, at the bottom, I'm very interested at that bottom because that's where you see staking and lending. And that's where I do believe that a lot of these digital assets, you're going to be able to lend out XRP, Algorand, HBAR, and earn a significant amount on it, especially once the market broadens. And talking more so about that, here you have the overall breakdown of the massive market opportunity. When we think about how big crypto is, it's comical to say the least how big crypto is compared to all these markets. I mean, gold by itself is a $10.1 trillion asset. When we think about Apple, $3 trillion, private equity, $3.7 trillion, real estate funds, $6.9 trillion, physical currency, $40 trillion, all the money, $90 trillion, stock market, $109 trillion, global debt, $300 trillion, derivatives market, $600 trillion, global real estate, $613 trillion. Like, these are the markets out there that are so massive. The total addressable market here is $1.7 quadrillion. So to put that into perspective, with all of the partnerships that we are now seeing around, Hedera and Ripple and Algorand and some of these names, it shows you how big the opportunity here actually is. That's why I focus on these legitimate projects that are, building out the path to realizing in the world of tokenization. And talking more so about that, here you have from Fireblocks, one of the biggest players out there for, the institutional side. We are excited for the next phase of tokenization, enabling trust, security, and interoperability in a multi-chain world. It is going to be a multi-chain world. You don't target $1.7 quadrillion by just 2 names or 3 names. This is on a large scale. There's going to be multiple names tied to this. But how big this market really is in terms of the addressable value, the opportunity for some of these altcoins is tremendous. So don't overlook this. Don't avoid these altcoins at this time just because, all right, yeah, they're, down in price. They're not doing much. Guys, prepare for your future in the space, especially if you are young. If you have a lot of time, guys, crypto is the place to be. Crypto is the place to plant seeds and just wait for them to grow. I've said this so many times on this channel. When we're looking at investments, it's not invest on Monday and get out by Friday. If you are young and you're around crypto, you can afford to plant seeds. You can wait for them to grow. This market is unregulated. This market is not massively adopted. This market is minuscule on a global scale. When we think about XRP, HBAR, Algorand, these are just 3 projects that, you could pick out of the, dozen or so. There's a lot of great projects in this space that have a ton of great value, that have a ton of great use case potential. You need to pay attention to these altcoins. Even if everyone's saying avoid these, get into this altcoin, get into that altcoin, or, buy Bitcoin, get this. It's just so much noise in this space that kind of crowds you and it will overwhelm you, and you'll start avoiding legitimate projects that, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, they could be worth massive amounts of money. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.